All right, hello everybody. My name's Brant, and this is the first ever Moosecast for November 26th, 2017. I'm joined by my friends Tom. Tom, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Tom.
Hi, Tom. That was a really clever intro.
Oh, was I
And
supposed to say more?
I
Or?
mean, no, that's fine. That's fine. You can just do you. And then I'm also joined by my friend Austin. Austin.
Hi, I'm Austin.
All right,
Hello.
cool.
Wow, nice intro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Nice, fantastic intro. Uh, so yeah, we're going to be discussing today both the Stick of Truth, South Park: The Stick of Truth. Which when did that come out? I was like,
Dude, I
God,
have the wiki pulled up right
you
now.
actually
March
have a.
4th. Well, the Wikipedia page, because I was refreshing my brain on the game, and it
Oh,
was
okay.
March 4th of 2014.
I thought you were just being an asshole. Like, I got the wiki page right here.
All right, so that was in 2014. And then we're also going to be discussing a game that we all recently completed, The Fractured But Whole, which was released very recently. I forget. I know it was 2017, but that's probably all we really need to know. Um, so yeah, The Stick of Truth. Um, I want to ask your opinion. Which did you prefer more? Either one of you.
Hmm. It's a tough one. Because
Yeah,
honestly,
because like,
they. Sorry, you go.
uh, because like they're kind of completely different games, but not in terms of comedy. Because I mean it's still South Park comedy. Uh, but they're different games with the different feel of like one's the standard JRPG and then the other one's the tactical uh, RTS. Would that be? Would that be RTS?
No, it's not real time.
What would that be? I forget.
Just, I don't know,
It's like a
turn-based
strategy.
combat.
Turn based. Oh, okay.
It's still turn-based, yeah, I
It's still
don't know.
turn based, but you can like position characters and shit.
It's
Um,
like Fire Emblem style, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Like that.
So Tom, do you have any preferences as to which one you had more fun with?
I don't know, that's such a tough one. I feel the first one you could tell they like put everything into,
Yeah,
and then with the stick of truth, and then with fractured butthole, they're like, well, shit, we exhausted like all of our like best ideas into the stick of truth, but
yeah,
here's some leftovers and I guess some new, pretty good fresh ideas. That's kind of the vibe I got from fractured butthole. Is that it's just like it was still a really good game, but it was the lesser of the two, I would say.
yeah. I wonder if the fractured butthole was all like the Trey and Matt's like they actually wanted to do a sequel. Like I wonder if they just were like Ubisoft was like, "Hey, this game did really well. Could you you know,
Oh, that's a
pump
good
out another
question.
one?"
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, I know they like making video games. I mean, as much as their old video games kind of sucked. If you remember the South Park game for the N64, um, the best first person shooter ever. Um, so I'm kind of wondering if Ubisoft was just like, hey, this game did really well. Let's have you guys work on a sequel. And they were like, shit. Now what do we do? Um,
Yeah.
Especially with all the push, like all the dates it was pushed back to, it's been delayed so many times.
well, did you?
I've,
Well, one of the reasons was like a medical condition for.
Yeah. I think
oh,
Trey had a vocal cord issue like halfway through recording all of the lines, and there's like 30,000 lines of dialogue in the Fractured
oh yeah.
Butthole, and so he had like recording issues, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Hey, don't stop it." Um, and he was like, "No, I gotta." So he had actually had like a leave notice, just so that he can record some more stuff, and then he ended up stopping recording anyway. So I think that's why recording kind of pushed things back, because they do
Okay.
pretty much all of the dialogue in that game. Um, I mean, other than obviously most female characters and stuff like that, but
And his daughter.
Yeah, and his daughter. Which I don't know. I want more Ike. I wish there was more Ike in these games.
Why couldn't he be on your team?
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that would actually be sick if you could actually use him as a weapon or something. Austin, which did you prefer?
I mean, Fractured Butthole is more like it's fresh in my mind, so I'm probably gonna side more with that one.
Okay.
I like the combat a lot more in the Fractured Butthole.
Yeah, I did too. I'm glad they went with that. Because I would definitely would if it would have been another turn-based game, I would have been like, oh shit, this again. Like, I'm really glad they kind of freshened up the RPG formula with that. But I'm just personally, I think I have more memories of Stick of Truth.
Yeah, it had a lot more memorable moments. I agree.
Yeah, because like I feel like Stick of Truth, like Tom said, was fucking they put everything into it. There were so many moments there, like, and I feel like they could have went a little bit further with some of the stuff that was like over the top in the Fractured Butthole. Like there were some moments. Oh, by the way, there's going to be some spoilers in this discussion. I probably should have said that at the beginning.
Spoiler warning.
Shit, we already explained the entire plot. No, but I feel like the scene at the end with the parents, that was probably the peak of just absolute absurdity. Because for those of you like
Which part at the end are you talking about?
the part where you have to kill one of your parents.
Oh, yeah, that almost
That
made
was
me
like-
cringe. That
that-
was hard.
That was out of nowhere.
It was hard to watch.
That
yeah.
moment, I was like, "Holy shit, this is pretty fucked up."
Yeah.
Like in the first game, like you had the moments where okay, there's Nazi zombies. There you have to fight a giant fetus. There's the anal probe sequence. And then there's also you have to watch your parents have sex.
Oh yeah.
Fighting the
Yeah, and then you have to fight and dodge your dad's ball sack. Like that was like so over the top, and I feel like this game was a little bit more grounded in reality.
Yeah, they were a little more timid on pushing boundaries. Yeah.
And which makes me think like obviously they were written in or they each had different seasons happening while they were going on. So part of me thinks the first game was like kind of an ode to like earlier seasons, and then this one like had the newer seasons with like PC Principle and Member Berries and all that stuff. And then obviously the first game was more fantasy, so you could get away with like doing like crazy over the top, like this is a giant castle made out of cardboard. And then Fractured Butthole was more of like it's kind of more modernized in a way. But like I said, I think I have more memories with Stick of Truth. But the Fractured Butthole was definitely a fucking fantastic game.
Well, I'm looking on the Wikipedia page for Fractured Butthole, and Matt Stone isn't credited under either producers or writers. It's just Trey.
Oh, really?
Trey directed and wrote it. Matt's not listed anywhere. Like he must have had a much minor role for this game,
I wonder if
which could have affected why the game felt a little different compared to
was the
Stick of
first
Truth.
one both of them.
Yeah, first one was both of them.
I wonder if it was due to them, because part of this was written during the what season was that with PC Principle, where it was like a continuous storyline for the whole fucking season.
17, I think, was the first season that did continuous storylines.
I'm wondering if one of them was more working on the show, and then the other one was working on like focusing on the writing for the game.
Well, who was on vocal rest? Who was that?
I think it was.
I don't remember.
I think it was Matt Stone.
Because if it was Matt, that would explain why he didn't have too much to do with Fractured Butthole. Maybe he was on leave while a lot of the writing process went on and stuff.
Yeah, that might have been the case. Because I mean, you know, and them splitting it would make sense too, to kind of, you know, have it less on their shoulder, because that's basically like writing the entire game is like one full season, I would say, of work. Because that has a lot of dialogue, more than most movies actually, which is just absurd. So now that we got that out of the way, what was your favorite part from the Stick of Truth, would you say?
Who are you asking?
Either one of you. Just fucking go. Like, if you have something to say, just go.
Let's
Favorite
both talk
part.
at the same time. Then.
Yeah, right. Favorite part from Stick of Truth, you say?
Yes.
Mine was when you get abducted by aliens, and you have to like play Simon Says with Randy while he's probed.
Oh my god. And then you intentionally fuck up so you keep getting probed.
I thought
like, after all these like simple like 3 sequence puzzles, and then
It's
like
like,
the next
beep,
one's
boop,
like
beep, boop,
20,000
beep,
like. lights going.
that was I would say that's up there on mine. Tom, what are your thoughts on favorite moment from Stick of Truth?
I don't know. I because yeah, it's not the most fresh thing in my mind. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure. It's just
All right. How about Fractured Butthole?
it's been so long. All right. Fractured Butthole. Favorite moments. It has to be those last couple hours of the game were just fucking nuts. Holy shit! Like it all begins like on that final night when both franchises get the lead at the police station.
Yeah, and then they go to Dr. Mephisto's.
And then, oh my god, it just spirals out of control from there. That was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, like,
so I'd have to say just the whole last couple hours of the game.
So
just
I had this weird thing with Fractured Butthole. The beginning was great. There was like a small part in the middle where I was just like, It kind of like leveled off from like absurdity, and then as soon as like you get to Mephisto's lab, as soon as you start fighting the fucking demon from the Necronomicon or whatever, and the police like
below the police station,
that is when it like started getting better for me, and then it just kept going up. And then the ending was it was South Park. It was perfect.
That was probably my favorite part. Was just the ending.
It's just done. It's just done.
Let's go get some clean drugs and alcohol from the next town over. Yeah, that's the credits. So that's it.
And like, and seeing Santa, like, and
Santa was awesome.
Going into the future to Christmas every day, and just that was, I thought the ending would probably be the best part, because and the back and forth between Kyle and Cartman in that fight. Yeah, the two Mitch Connors from alternate universes. I was like, this is fucking hysterical, because like you didn't expect it. It was like a real plot twist.
No, they did a really good job with having the most unexpected happen at the end.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away. Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then I had to fight Kyle, like, kick his ass just to fight Mitch Connor.
They kept breaking the rules of the game every time they would, like, die. They're just like, oh, that didn't work.
That doesn't actually work. So with this game, I feel like they played more into the whole fact that it's just a game. Even during some of the situations where, like, there was actual danger of dying. But yeah, that ending was such a fucking ride.
God,
I love all the references at the ending too, like when they brought back what was it? Oh god. It was that one sequence when they're on the train and they're talking like after the whole Half-Life thing, because that was hilarious too.
Mephisto's son.
Yeah, they were like, he was,
I had a son at one point. He was like explaining like all the fucked up shit that was
and then,
going on.
and then all the
kids were
kids
just
were
like,
like,
"Oh, that was us." I
oh
think.
shit, that was us. And I was like, I just remember like a couple weeks ago watching that episode and just thinking about it, like, God, I'm glad they kept the canon kind of going. Um,
Make a Barbara Streisand.
and they were like,
Okay.
oh shit. um, yeah, I would say, God, that ending is just so fucking good. Austin, are you gonna go also for the ending then on Fractured
Probably,
Butthole?
yeah.
Yeah, I
I don't know. It just made me laugh so much. Just like the very end where they just cut to the credits. It's like, oh, that's the end of the game.
yeah, that was definitely a South Park thing because like most of the time in South Park episodes, the show just ends and like nobody learned their lesson. Nothing, nothing actually like there was morals back in like the old seasons and shit like that, but it just ends, and I think that's one of the best parts about it. The writing was just great.
I feel like that's like the highlight of South Park, especially with the games. Like
Oh yeah.
the their writing is just genius, honestly.
I don't know how they still do it. Like,
Yeah, after 20 plus years, like,
yeah, like
blows my mind.
how do you do that many seasons and still like? I guess they kind of switched from doing non-topical humor to more like news-related humor and stuff like that recently.
Right.
Because like back in the day, like they could make episodes on pink eye zombies, or they can make episodes on Garrison killing that or like shooting that one chick, like sniping her down. Like they could do all that in the earlier episodes, and then like they started getting more and more topical, especially recently.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's just it's an easy way to have something to write about. But what they're so good at is taking something and then just adding that South Park spin onto it.
Yeah. And they still do the whole like writing one episode in a week. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the most
That's-
absurd things.
You can imagine like cramming, like trying to get that done in a week.
Yeah, because it's like the first 5 days are them like writing, recording, and then doing stuff, and then the next couple days they're like, well, if it's shit, it's shit, but we're gonna put it out anyway. And
But they somehow managed to make just about every episode amazing.
yeah, props to them. And then they're still doing other stuff. Like they did the Book of Mormon. They
Yeah.
did like when
These
they had
video games.
these video games at the same time. And I think Book of Mormon's still on fucking Broadway. And it's a fantastic musical, and I don't know how they do everything that they do.
Yeah, they're busy as fuck. Like, holy shit.
But they are so like good at what they do, and I think the two games definitely kind of prove that.
Oh yeah.
So, did either of you fight Morgan Freeman yet?
No, I don't know how.
You literally,
you literally just walk up to him and punch him a few
Yeah,
times.
so
It's
go-
like,
go
I
wow.
behind
did that
the-
like 50 times.
no, you have to punch him 3 times. What the fuck are you
I
doing?
punched him several times, and he just kept going like, "Oh, watch it, careful," and then he wouldn't react. Like, do I have to get like I don't know what I was doing wrong. Yeah.
Maybe yours
Did
glitched.
you do it-
I don't know.
Before or after you like beat the main story?
Before.
Maybe it's like a post game type.
No,
of
I,
thing?
I did it during the story too.
Oh, I don't
Maybe
know.
it's was your character black or white, Brent?
White.
Maybe that's why, because my character was black and he wouldn't fight me.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that would be a thing that they would do though. Just get rid of an entire boss fight just because you change the color of the character. Which I'm glad Tom went the
Oh yeah, I
The
had to play
full
the game on
black
hard
route,
difficulty, of
'cause-
course.
yeah.
Get the most for my money.
Did you actually? Were there some moments at the beginning where they were like just ripping on you because you were?
No, not really. The whole like being black thing, like there were couple moments where they were like, saying like, oh, it's because you're black or whatever. But then it wasn't until the very end of the game where you find out all the shit going down, how they're like capturing all the black people to feed the monster.
Yeah, like that's.
Yeah, because he doesn't like white meat.
Oh my god.
It
To
makes
think-
him sick.
To think the cops were doing that the whole fucking time. Like that's. That was
Well,
the reason behind why they
obviously,
were
like,
racist.
Something was up, yeah, because like these guys are horrible drug lords. We need you to go in and take them down, and they're just like minding their own business, like doing whatever in their house.
So I just looked it up, and yeah, he won't fight you if you're black. So
Really?
you have to go to PC Principal and change your ethnicity before.
Oh, okay. I feel you. All right. So, what did you guys go with your like final like character, like all your character sheet? Did you have like a? Because I went a cisgendered white male. I just went with what I'm
I'm just
normally.
gonna boot up the game right now so I can
All right.
refresh and all this stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Because yeah, I'll have to. I did mostly. Oh shit! When did I do that? I spilled soda all over my controller.
Tom getting too excited over here.
Well, I went all the normal stuff, just like
Yeah, I kind of went like
straight or
Normal
like
too.
cisgender, straight,
Okay.
black.
Yeah, because I
yeah.
really like the fact that they kind of made fun of like cisgendered.
I love
people.
the like hillbillies or the rednecks who just show up every time.
And then the last time you fight them, I was like, why are you talking like that? It's
Dialogue trees.
Dialogue tree. Yeah.
That was great. And then they're like, "Well, I thought we were making fun of them because of their sexual orientation." They were like, "No, we're fighting them because they took our jobs." And it was like, God, it was so hysterical. And
I gotta clean off my controller. It's sticky AF.
oh god damn it! Now I get
One
it.
sec.
Shit.
God damn it.
Well then I'll continue talking with Austin. Do you remember what you went for your character?
I know cisgender was one of them.
Okay.
White. I don't know. I kind of just went normal until I got to like religion. I can't remember what I picked for the religion though.
I think I went.
Oh, I went like Scientology or whatever it was. And Jesus was like, "Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Scientology?"
I think I went agnostic, and he didn't say anything like he hated me or anything like that. So, but yeah, I guess if you choose Scientology, Jesus hates you.
He still let me get that selfie.
Yeah,
though.
he still lets you get the selfie. But yeah, I went the cisgendered male route just because that's actually what I am in real life.
Yeah, I kind of was just doing like what I was.
Because I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm, something I'm not, which I don't know. Maybe it was just me in the moment. But yeah, I just love all of the moments in that because it made fun of everybody. It literally made fun of everybody, and I think that was the part that I enjoyed the most because not many like comedy things make fun of literally everything.
Yeah.
And they were making fun of like straight people, gay people. Like nobody was safe. Nobody was safe, and I think that's why South Park is so good. And that's why the show is so good because they always just make fun of like everything.
Because normally it'd be like, "Oh, is that racist?" But like, they make fun of literally everything.
Yeah, it's like when the first time that I fought. Oh, Tom's back. The first time that I had the moment where the cops were like, "Hey, we need to take down this drug lord," and I was like, "All right, cool." I thought nothing of it until I walked up to the house and was like, "This is a normal fucking house. What's going on here?" And then I walked in and I see the picture just above the like couch, and I'm like, "Oh no, they're gonna have me beat up a black guy, aren't they?" And literally just they throw me into it, and it's literally a 10-year-old kid beating the shit out of an innocent black guy. And I was like,
Take him down.
Get him. But I was like, the fact that they're making fun of the police, and they're making fun of your character for being black, or it was just they had a really good balance of, this is what we're gonna make fun of, and we're gonna make fun of literally everything. So yeah, I was really really happy about that. Tom, did you clean off your controller?
Yeah, for the most part.
What did you just spill soda? Like what?
No, I think I know when it happened. It was when we were playing Dota earlier. I slammed my fist on the table.
Oh no, was
Rage.
it that bad? Was it that bad?
I don't remember what game it was. I think I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah, and then spilled some soda apparently. And I
Way
didn't.
to fucking go.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of both games, did you feel like they did make this second one more difficult?
I would
thought
say
the
so.
Really?
Yeah.
The game was not. I only died a couple times in fights.
Same, but I feel like because how the combat is now, that it's more difficult. But I don't know. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I was thinking, because when I played Stick of Truth, I literally died no times. And then
It's super easy to run through the whole game.
the Fractured But Whole is like, I was actually like worrying about like my artifacts and trying to find more artifacts. I actually had to grind at one point, which, as you know, I really suck at grinding in RPGs. That's why I still haven't beaten Final Fantasy VII. But like I was kind of happy with the difficulty level. There was one point where I got really ticked off, and that was with the ninja fight.
Dude, yeah, the ninja fights can be rough sometimes.
The ninja fight was literally like, I fought the first wave of ninjas, then the ninjas that spawned more ninjas happened, and literally there was like 10 ninjas on the thing that I had to kill. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then I completely forgot that I could switch out Token, because Token is useless. I'm just gonna say,
Tupperware sucks ass.
Tupperware is the worst hero in that fucking game. And so then I ended up switching out for Call Girl, Mysterion, and I think I forget who else. Obviously the main character, and then whatever. But I was just like, Tupperware just was not doing it for me. Anytime that I had Tupperware in my party, I was like, I gotta restart. Like I can't, But
I think Wonder 2 Week was a very close second for most useless.
yes,
Yep.
Unless you had like his ult became great once you got Craig and him to make up.
Oh my god, yes. That made me like laugh so hard every time I used Super Craig's ult.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best. That was one of the best ults in the game. Now, what did you go for character route? Because I went something kind of weird.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
Like the powers that we
Yeah,
have.
which powers, like which superhero did you go with?
So my final skill set I used at the end of the game was two of the Blaster's abilities,
Okay.
and then one of the Plant Mancer's abilities.
Which Plantmancer one did you get?
The one that makes them bleed, and it's like this huge,
Dude,
covers a huge area.
That's
It's so
such
good.
a good ability. I
Yeah,
ended
it
up
was
using
too
that
good.
too. So,
Could not pass that up.
Austin, do you remember what you went?
I mostly use like the elemental abilities.
Okay.
Ooh,
No, see, I ended up
more
going.
fucking ninjas.
And I also used the turret from the what is it, the Technomancer or whatever it's called,
the Tinker or whatever.
the Gadgeteer. That's what
The
it is.
Gadgeteer, yeah.
I also used the turret because it actually was very useful.
What I ended up going the speedster route.
Okay.
That's what I started with. So I started with the speed ability where you could hit twice in one turn.
Oh yeah, I used that
That's a
for
thing?
a while.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
That was one of his. So you could use it and then use two more abilities. So it was literally, I would use that Plantmancer ability and just
Yeah.
make, like, hit him back and make them bleed, and then it was especially helpful in that like demon fight underneath the police station, because you could just knock everybody as far back as you wanted, and then they would just be eaten. So I literally spent like 4 turns on that whole fight. It was probably the easiest fight that I've ever had in the game. But because of it, the knockback and the bleeding damage was just too good. And then eventually I was having trouble, so I switched my alt out for the Plantmancer alt, where the plant woman shits rainbows all over everything.
Mother Nature.
Yeah, Mother Nature ends up shitting rainbows. And that was hilarious for me every time it happened. Because beautiful music plays as she's shitting all over everybody. What alts did you guys get? Did you?
I used the one with like the fuck those things called, like the droid aircraft control thingy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I used the elemental one because it like stacked like freeze and shock on them, so like
Oh, shit.
all the people couldn't like move for one turn. They just took
Okay.
a bunch of damage.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I was just like, I was having a bit of trouble with some of the fights, and just having that max heal and reviving everybody. Like, what? That was actually, it felt broken to me, but who's your favorite character?
Mosquito.
Mosquito? You actually like Mosquito?
Dude, I love his voice, and every time in combat when he's like, "Now you must deal with the annoying noise of my buzzing." Like, I was just related so much. I was like, "Yeah, you are annoying, but I love it."
Austin, how about you?
I loved the human kite, but from the alternate universe.
Yeah. I'm Nick.
I love how he really helped me out in some tough times.
That fucking
Running
boss
in.
fight, though.
Doing nothing.
That final boss fight was awesome.
So, no joke. So I told you that it glitched out earlier in the
Oh, yeah.
in the chat. So what happened was, the last person on my team that was alive was Tweak. And he'd gotten he was the last one. Everybody else was dead, and he had shock damage on him. So he was literally at 1 hit. So as Tweak, I think my main character died right as the last bit of damage was going to happen to alternate universe human kite. So that damage happened. So my main character died. Nobody was left but Tweak. Tweak had the shock damage. So he took bleeding damage, died. Tweak took shock damage right as the QuickTime event was happening. So the whole time the game was like, "You're dead," and then, but it had me do the QuickTime event, and I did the QuickTime event, and each time it went to a different QuickTime, it was like, "You're dead," and like literally, and I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me! This fight took forever. Please, no, God, no." And then you do the final fart, and then literally everybody died. And I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding." So I had to do it again. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. That was probably the only moment where I was like actually irritated at the game. Because I didn't like that boss fight. Was kind of a pain the first few times I tried it. But you guys had some glitches too, right?
Oh yeah.
What glitches happened? Like,
I had a lot where like there was a couple times where I was like pooping in a toilet, and I like completed the mini game, and my character jumps off the toilet, and then all of a sudden I'm like floating in midair, like animated, like I'm still sitting on the toilet.
What?
And like then it just froze, and I had to restart the game.
Really? That's a weird fucking glitch.
The worst one was the fight in the senior center. The fight just wouldn't load at all.
Oh, really?
Oh, God.
So like I had to like boot it up through I don't know. I looked it up and like apparently that was a fight that a lot of people had that glitch for, I guess. And they were like, "Well, I booted it up through UPlay instead of Steam, and it loaded." So I tried that out, and that seemed to work.
That's bizarre. So yeah, it was like issues on Steam's end. Then.
Yeah, like the fight just wouldn't load.
Hmm.
It's very annoying.
Interesting. Tom, did you have any glitches at all?
No, I started playing after a couple patches, so
Okay.
I didn't really run into any issues or bugs at all. At least none that were noticeable. So
Okay.
yeah.
I think at one point I had like an audio glitch happen where somebody was I think they weren't even in my party and they just started saying stuff during a fight. And I was like I'm just going to ignore this cuz it's not really like affecting me at all. But it was kind of funny. I think it was like Stan was just talking to me and I was like, "What are you You're not in this fight. What are you doing?" But yeah, that was probably I think it was just those two glitches. And then there was one other glitch. On occasion when my character would wake up from bed, my eyes would be missing.
Oh.
All right.
And I don't know if it was because I had my character wearing glasses, and then when you put certain masks on, the glasses go away. So maybe there was something there that was like it was trying to do layers and shit, and it was like I have no idea what the fuck your eyes look like. So because that might have happened, but that was the only like crazy thing. I don't think I had too many glitches. So yeah, overall, both games were just right.
Hell yeah. They're just so well polished. And then another thing I love about them is I love the details that they put into the games about them being kids.
Yeah, like holy there's so many like clever like not just references but like allusions to them being actual kids.
Yeah, like my favorite things are like in the Fractured Butthole when Cartman would be interacting with his stuff in the Coon and Friends lair, like he'll just kind of like the beep boop 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 boop.
Yeah.
That just makes me smile so much.
Yeah, and then so turns out you remember the Rubik's cube at the beginning of the game?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
in Cartman's basement. Well, if you fart on that 3 times, you will die.
Wait, really?
Because it's supposed to be like holding the universe together. So if you fart on it 3 times, you will actually end the game.
I'll have to try that. I never tried farting on it.
And then there's another one that was at the beginning of the game, if you skip the opening cutscene, Cartman will start bitching at you and be like, "Come on, man, this is important. You gotta listen to this." And if you skip it enough times, he'll be like, "All right, fine, we'll skip it." And then it literally goes to the end credits. And then that's it. And then you have to restart the game over. So I thought that was really fun.
There's that other one where like if you put it in the code to go into the basement before you actually learn
Coach
it,
Belichick.
Like, he's just like, "Come on, we gotta play the game."
you gotta play the game. You gotta do. And I wanted to try that myself, but that's just so funny. It's so many clever jokes. So many fucking clever jokes. Any last words for both of the games? You got?
I think they're both just such extremely well polished games, and the only thing, the Fractured Butthole, going back on what we were saying about how like it started off, how the middle of the game was kind of meh, and then it kind of escalated. I almost feel like it overstayed its welcome just a little bit. Like I don't, at least to me, because
Are you saying it was too long?
Yeah,
Or...
to me at least, like I did all the side quests and stuff, or at least the majority of them, and I felt like it just went on for a little too long. Especially like the middle of the game was a lot of, like just kind of like errand boy missions kind of deal.
I felt
like
that too.
Backtracking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I was like towards the middle. I was like, eh.
Yeah, the middle of the game definitely got stale, but then to me it picked up once like the microaggressions started to hit.
Oh yeah, dude, the microaggressions.
That made me laugh so hard. Like I didn't expect it to happen in combat. So like when I was in a fight and there was like microaggression,
You were like, what?
I was like, what? That's awesome.
One of my favorites was like, he's like, go run home to your mommy, pussy, and then it was like the PC principal messages you and he's like, you should be able to run home to whichever adult you feel. I mean, you're right, but oh god. And then I think there was other comments, like Jimmy made a comment to PC principal like it talked about like crushing some puss, and they were like microaggression, and then literally Jimmy commented and was like, wasn't your whole foundation based around crushing puss? And he was like, don't do this to me, Jim.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Because when he lived in the frat house or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just all the references, even some that I didn't get because I haven't caught up with the seasons. As
oh really?
much.
Okay, yeah, because there are quite a few references to the new seasons in this game. So,
but
yeah.
even some of the jokes that I knew were probably from the newer seasons, I was still like, this is hysterical. So I felt like they did a good job of, even if somebody who had never watched South Park would have been like, all right, this is pretty funny. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you do have to know, but there's just so much going on. Fucking drunk Randy.
Come back at night and see who's keying up my wife's car.
Keying my wife's car. Take that, you bitch!
Just drunk. I'm sick of buffering all these scratches out. Come back at night, he's just sitting there scratching the shit out of it.
I was not surprised. I was like, damn it, Randy.
I love how that like he comes back because like you take his keys so he won't drive. And you're like doing that mission like.
Oh yeah, and he shows up out of nowhere.
It's
the
like
back of Fegacini or whatever.
Give
me my keys.
It's just like super Randy or something. Like boss fight happens.
Oh yeah, no, he was red wine drunk Randy.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ. Austin, any other final thoughts you got for either game? Really?
They're good. They're funny.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah,
That's
I
about it.
I also like them. It was definitely well worth the money that I put in, especially when they gave you fucking Stick of Truth for free with Fractured But Whole.
Oh, you didn't own it prior?
No, I didn't own it prior. So when I got it, I was like, shit, dude, now I gotta play Stick of Truth before I played Fractured But Whole.
Tom, did you go to like the walling off Canada?
Oh, the Canada wall? Oh my god.
Hey, it's pretty nice back here.
I love all the guys like just like, well, there's nothing over here you can do now, so fuck off. But maybe later we'll do some DLC or something.
And if they did do a Canada DLC, I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, I told him it's great. Yeah. All right. Okay, yeah. He's like talking to the dude behind the wall. Yeah, no, it's totally awesome over here. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like we gushed over this fantastic game. What would you give it out of 10?
Well, Stick of Truth. I don't know. I feel like 10 out of 10 is such a weird rating because there's no such thing as like I guess it's so subjective, but I would give it a 10 out of 10 in the sense that it was so well polished, and I felt the pacing was perfect. I love the combat in the Stick of Truth. I don't know. I'd give it like a 10 out of 10 game based on what it was, and then Fractured Butthole, I'd give like an 8 out of 10 because I liked the combat system in the first one better.
Okay.
And I feel like the pacing on this one started to get stale in the middle of it before it started to pick back up again. And yeah, while it wasn't as well done as Stick of Truth, it's still a really good game.
No. Austin, what would you give it out of 10?
Well, I don't know. I can't really say for Stick of Truth because it's been too long. Like, it's not really in my mind. But for Fractured Butthole, I'd probably say about the same, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Mainly because of how it I also think it dragged on a little too long.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they packed a lot in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably go like for Stick of Truth, I would probably also give it like a 10, just because I have so many moments that I was just like, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
that
it was
I
just
played it.
the perfect South Park game.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Stick of Truth was perfect.
And then Fractured But Whole would be like an 8.5. It was definitely a fantastic sequel.
Yeah.
Because you don't get many games that are like, you know, the first game was great, but here's the sequel. Like, it was nice to have a sequel that was actually good.
Yeah, those are definitely rare. Yeah.
But yeah,
But Ubisoft makes so many great sequels, guys.
the Rayman or the Raving Rabbids and Mario, it's getting a sequel. You can
Assassin's Creed 17.
Jesus. I don't even think we could talk about Assassin's Creed because
It's disgusting how much they're milking that series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they probably should have ended it off at like the Ezio trilogy and just called it off at that.
But no, they're milking it because they can't come up with enough open world games that involve you climbing towers to access more of the map. Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Tom's having a rough time.
So I'm doing the Morgan Freeman fight. It's fucking impossible. It's the hardest fight in the game.
Yeah, no, it's awful. So I'll be back again. Like I said, this is the first podcast, hopefully of many. We'll probably be discussing some other things. Maybe we'll discuss Dota next week or something else awful. Yeah, ooh.
Look forward to that one.
Everybody will look forward to that one. But we'll continue doing this. We're probably going to put these videos both on YouTube and SoundCloud, depending on, like, not everybody wants to watch something on YouTube. They might just want to listen. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll be back probably next week. So
later,
later, skaters.
Bye.